Hi, I'm Dr. Grant Mullen, and welcome to this week's video blog. One day last week, our smoke detector went off. Well, of course, that triggers fear and panic and adrenaline, so we raced through the house looking for the source of smoke or fire, but there was none. It was a false alarm. But try telling that to a wailing smoke detector. And not only would it not listen to me, it actually recruited the other smoke detectors in the house, so the house was just filled with this alarm. Well, what do? You can't open a window because there is no smoke to clear. So I did what any self-respecting guy would do. I ripped it off the ceiling and disconnected it, and I was about to smash it to pieces, but Kathy stopped me. But I sure taught it a lesson. But it got me to thinking about how we respond to alarms, particularly false alarms. Well, how do you respond to alarms? Well, let's do a test. On the count of 3, I'm going to set off my smoke detector, and be careful, it might blow your speakers. Let's see how you respond. 1, 2. Well, of course nothing happened. I told you I disconnected it. It was a false alarm. But I saw how you reacted. You panicked. Many of you went running out of the room screaming, covering your ears. The rest of you dove for the keyboard to hit the sound button to turn it off. But all that emotional energy was for nothing. It was a false alarm. Nothing was going to happen. But you see how false alarms trigger a reaction in us which is totally unnecessary. Now imagine how you could drive someone crazy if you were constantly triggering false alarms in their house. They would just be totally unstable and be going nuts because all these alarms would be going off and triggering their emotions. But that's exactly what Satan wants to do and tries to do with each of us. He loves to set off false alarms in our life, and the reason is that if he can get us frightened, it will distract us from our trust in God. It takes our eyes off God to this circumstance that he wants us to be frightened about, so he's always triggering false alarms. Now here's how he does it. He loves to insert thoughts in your mind that start with these 2 words, what if? What if thoughts are often meant to frighten you and distract you. Another method he uses is to take small events in your life and blow them out of proportion so they become very threatening to you for some reason. And I refer to that as creating the illusion of risk. He loves to create an illusion of risk so you get all preoccupied and frightened with it. Well, what's the antidote? How can we stop reacting to his false alarms? Well, the first is recognize incoming thoughts that start with the words what if. Whenever you get an incoming thought missile starting with what if, be very aware this is probably a false alarm that you can dispose. The most valuable antidote, however, for fear is to increase your trust in God. Because when trust goes up, fear has to drop. And as Satan knows, of course, if he can increase fear, your trust will drop. So the ultimate antidote is to increase your trust in God. So the next time you get that thought missile, the next time there's a situation that you're reacting to with great fear, you just turn to Jesus and say, do I need to be afraid of this? His answer will always be no. So increase your trust and fear will melt away and you can ignore false alarms. So to live a transformed life, you need to learn how to ignore false alarms by increasing your trust in God. Now I want to hear from you. How have you been able to ignore false fear alarms in your life? Share it with us. We'd like to know how you handled it. Also, one more thing is, I did learn how to prevent smoke detectors from going off falsely. You're supposed to vacuum them. I didn't know that. So now every week when you do your rugs, do your smoke detector. So I told Kathy, she was thrilled. I'll talk to you again next week.